Now let's get into How Dragon. So How Dragon, I'm showing a PvE build. This is a PvE build against bosses because that is what How Dragon is good for. How Dragon is not really good in PvP just because way too clunky, way too less move out. It did have a lot of upgrades. Damage. I think it was just damage increases. Move upgrade like good CCs. I don't even know if he have any HP removal. But even if it does, its defensibility are way too low in order to survive effectively in PvP. Or so that's why most people use it in PvE. But the problem, but another problem is most people who have How Dragon PvE or who have max How Dragon and is able to get this probably have better PvE units. So he's kind of stuck in a spot where it is good in PvE, but there are better ones, and people who can get this units are kind of are better, have better units. But you know what? Regardless, let's get into this unit. So, core obviously matching core for PvE. There's no debate on that. There's nothing really to say. Of course, I'll get into the potential PvP builds as well. But for now, just PvE for now. And then for this one is just no. Okay, hold on. I wonder actually. Maybe hold on. Yeah, Super Office. Super Office. I think it's a little bit better than this one because it's 30%. I don't know. Test it out. Yeah, definitely test it out because I believe this one is still. I believe this one's a bit better, but if you don't have it, you can obviously use Super Office. But just know that some of these because I don't know. Yeah, just these two. There isn't really any other options for this. Just for the for the pure damage increase. Now, see, look, it does say something about melee damage increase, but that's not the important part. The main important parts are usually the second lines of these parts. So yeah, there's not really any other ones I should go for. I believe. Until they make like a better beam type or just damage increase weapons. And then now for the support, not for support, just shooting weapons, damage increase by 40%. Just the usual damage increase. And of course, if the boss is a little bit more finicky, you can obviously use emergency detach if the boss is getting a bit crazy. And then now for the coding, I'm using the aggro coding mainly because I'm using Elaine, because Elaine I think is the best one for this unit at the moment. Now I think there's probably other ones, Tapper or something that people can try, but Elaine is the most universal I think. So I'm just using Elaine for now. And for the aggro, so the boss wouldn't be targeting you more. I'm using, and then for the coding, I'm using Baiuko just because faster active skill, active buff, always good. And now for the code, and now for the pets, is just Scorpion, just more CC on the boss, more damage on the boss. Of course, you can use some damage, like some other damage part, like for example, this one that gives 12% damage value to the, basically to the boss. So that's pretty good. Or just your usual damage increase units, which I don't know which one it will be, but you should be able to tell. In the ones that you have, you should be able to tell just because of the the description. So yeah. And then for the combat skill is just the best damage increasing, the best damage increasing skill that you have. For example, it would be Greta for me because Greta, I have better ones now technically, but I'm using Greta just because I think most people would have Greta because I think she does give the most amount of fan damage increase, so that's pretty good. But of course, with new unit releasing, right? With new units releasing, it might be time to or depending on what you have, right? Like you can use him, or you can use Enjoyer, or you can use of course the newest unit in the collab with Goddess Paradise. Yeah, just the best DPS pilot that you have at the time, or at the time basically, yeah. So, which I think another unit that everyone has Judith probably, right? Which I don't have Judith here, so. But you guys know what I mean, right? Just the highest damage increase things, the universal damage increase move that you can see, should be fine. Which I'm gonna go into Greta again, because Greta again. Well, Greta need all 4 units, so don't go in with only a single unit. I'm just showing the builds in a moment. So, Reta. Okay, so that should be it about the PvE build. So now let's go into PvP build. PvP build. I am using Serenity just because Serenity can actually make us survive a little bit. Just because Serenity can survive, can survive a little bit longer with 5 revives or with her 5 revives. And she also can force shoot everything whenever the enemy use active skill. So it is almost guaranteed. Well, again, if Serenity can survive long enough, almost guaranteed, or it can guarantee it to shoot its weapon 4 times. So that's also pretty good. And of course, the coding will just be this one. I don't know what it's called in English, but like ADDS or something like that. I don't know. And then for the bullets, I'm just using Ether Shell just for more immunity or anti-immunity and such. But if you don't have it, you can obviously use Super Office as well, which in some cases might even be better. But I'm using Ether Shell just because I like going over immunities. And then for the coatings, or for support, I'm using blue batteries, or emergency detach might even be better. So yeah. And then now I'm using of course I'm using what's the thing called again? Prep Seal. Pretty good. And for coatings, I don't know why I have this on. You want to have this on. You want to have the aggro on. So that's pretty good. And then so you don't get attacked by the enemies. And then for the pets, it's just more CCs, Scorpion, just more damage, more CCs, so your shots can actually go into the enemies. It's pretty good. And there are other ones that I can use, but personally, I think Scorpion are the best one for this, or for PvP, or for top PvP overall. And now for co-pilot skill, it's just I'm using Jasmine's this move. Jasmine defense wherever you get hit 7 times, or whenever you get when we get attacks for 7 times, it will remove the aggro, and then you will also go into 1.5 seconds of immunity. That's pretty awesome, and the cap is only 3.5 seconds. So it's kind of necessary, I think, for top level. But if your pilot for this one is on something else, obviously just any defensive type burst skill should be fine. So yeah. So that should be it about the PvP build. Is there anything else I need to talk about? Yeah, just if you don't have Jasmine, just the best defensive skill you have should be fine. Yeah, the best defensive core skill you have, and doesn't have to be defense. It can also be support. Defensive moves are not only in defense, but are also in other ones, right? You can even use Rerun if you really want to, just for more heals. Anything that can add to more survivability, anything that can add to more aggro or something like that, that should always work as well. So this should be the build for PvE, and again, there isn't much surviving footages of How Dragon being in PvP, because that's PvE. That's not. There isn't many there isn't many surviving evidence of PvP usage How Dragon, but I don't want to keep listening, but I'm tired. Anyway, so that should be it about the PvP build. Let's get into, I guess, just explaining what it does.